You're hiking on a wildlife reserve near the Everglades of Florida. It's 90 degrees outside. You're kind of enjoying yourself when you notice that you're being stalked by an alligator twice your size. You take off in a run. You run right up to the edge of a cliff. You see a stake in the ground with a rope on it that's leading down the side of the cliff. You look back at the alligator. You're thinking, all right, you jump on the rope, scurry down halfway down the cliff, and when you look down, you see that there's a swamp of alligators waiting down at the bottom of the cliff. And you're wondering, just as you're wondering, what am I going to do? You see a doorway in the side of the cliff in front of you. You swing into it and you land in the most beautiful and cool spot you've ever seen. I'm Rowena Starling. I welcome you to the Save Your Breath show, where we help parents eliminate the stress and aggravation of parenting, whether your child is 5 or 50. Our show today is about the agenda that we have coming up for the next quarter, the next couple of months or so, where the center of our attention will be the body. I know it just seems kind of a stark reference for parenting, but really it's a very important aspect of what's going on with ourselves, because we think we are our bodies, right? And I wonder if we give enough credence to the effect that nutrients and hormones and exercise and various other brain abnormalities that happen as a result of having or not having those things in proper balance. You know, if we weigh the importance, I want us to look at the importance of that aspect of ourselves when we're observing the behavior of ourselves and or our children and our family members. Why bother with having the body as a subject for this coming agenda? I've touched on it obviously already. The thing about that is our stresses, we stress ourselves out about a lot of things that we essentially don't have direct control over. And if you don't have direct control over, it's just such a waste of energy to be stressing. We're literally killing ourselves with the stress involved. So we're looking at the body so that we can look from that perspective on everything else that we do. We talked earlier about communication and integrity, and of course the body is participating in all that. And when we talk about the 93% of nonverbal communication that's going on in the in-person realm of communication, clearly the body is prominent in that whole thing, right? Can I get an amen on that? Of course I can. So the idea is to visit the importance of these various components that make up who we are, the body being major, since we all think that we're separate and we have our special bodies, and observe our physical selves and see what we can do in terms of nutrition especially, and exercise to sort of head problems off at the pass or cut them off at the pass. You know, I mean, wouldn't it be a good idea to address these nutritionals? Let's say you observe a nutritional issue that can immediately truncate or kill a problem that you're having in communication or effectiveness in of your child in school or whatever the case may be. I mean, don't you think it would be a good idea to be able to have some consciousness about that, have your attention drawn back into that so that you can start to look at that and perhaps eliminate something? Make it easier on you. I'm into easy, you know that, right? See, our bodies are like the canaries that the coal miners used to take down into the mines. I don't know if they still do that anymore. I'm sure you've heard of it, where they take the canaries, these little birds, down into the coal mines with them. And if the little birds died, they know that these gases that could kill them have been concentrating in the air, and it's time to get out immediately. The canaries in the coal mine. Well, our bodies operate very much the same way, for letting us know that something's going on, something's up, you need to pay attention to it. And in fact, let me give you a quote here from Dr. Lionel King. He is the author of Mastering Vitality. Here's what I want to ask you. Do you know that on average, illnesses and disease are approximately 40% advanced in your body before you ever experience your first symptom? I was floored when I heard that. For some reason, I thought that the body was so efficient that the first little sign of a problem would give us a little sign. Oh no. 40% advanced. That's like halfway about to do you in. Almost. Before you get your first symptom. Oh my God. So, you see the importance of paying attention to this particular subject. We owe it to ourselves to be caring about what's going on with our body, so that we can then be caring about educating our children and our families about what's going on with their bodies, so that we can all live a stress-free, happy life, because this stress thing, clearly is a body issue, right? Too many of us are sick, too many are tired, and too many are dying from stress. The stress of being up to your ass in alligators, like I said in the earlier intro. In fact, the CDC says that 7 people die every 2 seconds from stress. Make a note of that. Wouldn't you like to just kind of nip that particular statistic for yourself? Wouldn't you like to nip that particular statistic for your offspring? So, what will we be talking about? Well, like I said, we'll be talking about nutrition. Nutrition, how it influences our behaviors. This is all this, our exercise, our nutrition, our hormones, all these things that feed or emitted by the brain. So the brain is the center of operations, right? And we want to make sure that we're feeding the brain what it needs, so that it can be efficient about what it is that we're trying to get across. So nutrition will obviously be part of the subject matter, and the idea being food as connection. That's something that we have some understanding of, Thanksgiving dinners and whatnot, but the whole dinner at the table with the family thing, there's a reason for that being effective in our lives. Exercise. We'll be talking about how martial arts in particular helps us to train our bodies and simultaneously train our thought processes to our optimal health and our optimal well-being and our optimal discipline. Exercise, sports, just walking. Children are not getting enough exercise. Well, none of us are getting enough exercise. Well, a few of us are, but you know what I'm saying. This is a big problem. We're being driven into the home by technology. We're being driven into the home by what's happening out in the world, in the neighborhood, locally and globally. So exercise, outdoor activities, big subject. Our bodies are participating in our physical aspect, and this is something that has to be addressed. Hormones. I mean, that's a little subtle thing going on all the time with us. And they direct so much of what's going on with our communication with ourselves and our health and who we are and how we feel. A lot of our behavior is age-related. Hormones are released age-related, have an age-related association. For instance, from the child to the teenager, there's a big hormonal shift. It becomes obvious. Oh boy, do we get to see it. And then as you're an adult, there are hormonal things that are affecting everything that's going on, particularly in women. Men have it too. Childbearing age for women. And then as we become older, there's another shift in the hormone. So this whole hormonal thing is working us all the time. I want us to start paying attention to, what is really what's really happening, and and who's really doing what. So age-related hormonal balance, and I'm particularly interested in holistic practices and medicine, and there's a body consciousness and image, and teens have this particular thing going on, where they're trying to do that separation thing. That's an effect of the hormones. They're trying to start to become independent and push against what it is that you're saying. And how are you reacting to that? So are you pushing back at them? Got this going on? Oh, stop that. So we're going to be looking at that aspect of what's going on with our bodies. Togetherness versus separateness. We think we're separate, and we're not. Our bodies have put on this illusion that we are separate from each other, and we relish it, and how wonderful. However, there is a togetherness that is not even considered near enough. If it were, we wouldn't be having the problems that we're having in the world today. It's a matter of perspective. And then recreation. Now, recreation, that fun. I love that word. I love what that's about. I love what that means, because in recreation, just the root of the word, recreate. Recreation. When you don't have enough recreation, you become dull, listless, stressed, because, recreation and fun is essential to our happiness, and it's essential to our creativity. I want us to give more weight, 50-50, to the recreation. This carving out a day in the week or 2 weeks out of the year, no. We got to do a little bit better than that. Now, if you can have your work be fun and like recreation, oh man, you have got it going on. And we do find that those are the happiest people. So let's sort of edge ourselves in that direction. So recreation is not to be taken lightly, and I definitely will be looking at that aspect of things over this coming couple of months. Many parents think that since we are our bodies, or they think we are our bodies, that we're so close to it that we can neglect it. We can, look at that later, or I'll deal with that later, or I'll, not right now, right? But that's really where the problem starts. If they would just realize that 95% of all, and as a matter of fact, I have a quote here that I'd like to read from the health ranger, Mr. Mike Adams. Today, 95% of all chronic illness is caused by food choice, toxic food ingredients, nutritional deficiencies, and the lack of physical exercise. So if parents would just realize that, then they would accept the help that they need on all kinds of fronts, being it physical, emotional, ignoring the signals of what the body is trying to tell you, because we are so distracted elsewhere, is really only part of the problem. The real problem is being too tired to care. Can you agree that this is the crux of the problem? Yes. So I created the family system to help parents conquer stress and the many vagaries of parenting. When the system is implemented, you get to incorporate things that you need going forward in an efficient way. And I consider it like swinging into that doorway, into the mountainside, and allowing yourself to be engaged in the beautiful coolness of what you're about to do with your family. Set them up in a system. Now, when we're able to put ourselves in that space, it allows us to then look with curiosity at the annoying things that our kids are doing, or that our offspring are doing, or our spouse is doing. It allows us to look at with curiosity at those annoyances. And just being able to have that perspective offsets quite a lot of stress. That outlook kind of remove stress from the picture. You don't get hyped up on it. Now you're looking in a way that is a curiosity, like, why is this happening? Now we're going to figure in what's going on possibly with the chemical balance in the body and whatnot. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm talking about? So how will we go about it? Well, we will engage in research, and I have a wealth of knowledge. I will invite guests to the show, and they will be here as they can fit it into their schedules to talk about these various aspects of nutrition, exercise, hormonal balance, what the different hormones do, how we can pump up some to help us to engage our brains in a more effective way, clean air and clean water. All of these things add up to somebody who is possibly got a chance to get it done without a whole bunch of stress. I mean, how do you know that the difficulty that your child or your offspring or your partner, for that matter, how do you know that their difficulty in following your instructions or doing what it is that you need is not related to poor absorption of nutrients by their brain? I mean, can you see how that would kind of color your attitude and how you feel about it? Not ideal to get into a bunch of worry about it, but from a solution-based perspective, now you're talking about something that gives you some empowerment and takes away a certain edge on that stress. There's a funny quote I just wanted to interject here. It's by Doug Larson. And he says, life expectancy would grow by leaps and bounds if green vegetables smelled as good as bacon. Yes, indeed it would. In fact, I think they would have, vegetables have to taste like bacon too. I don't think it's just a smell. There's something else going on there. All right, anyway, we parents are notorious for grabbing something fast to eat because we're on the go all the time, many of us. And the question is, what are you grabbing? And then, have you considered how it makes you feel? Once it breaks down into your system and you're going about your day, what kind of behavior are you having later, and what are you feeling as a result of eating whatever that was? See, we like to pay attention to that a lot with our kids, but I'm thinking we need to be paying attention to that for ourselves as well. So a lot of us are picking up the mantle and running with that, and more of us need to do so. In fact, I have a quote here by Dr. Eva Selab, and she says that eating high-quality foods that contain vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants nourish the brain and protects it from oxidative stress. The oxidative stress is the free radicals, I'm sure you might have heard about them, produced when the body uses oxygen. Oh my God. Which can damage cells. There's that word again, stress. Sneaking in there when you least expect it. You can't even eat without worrying about, your damaged cells from the oxygens that you need. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. In any event, it's popping up in unexpected places. And then how do you behave as a result of having engaged in these things? I mean, do you ever ask yourself, seriously, how can I make my life easier? And ask it in a serious, fun, loving, effective way. You might be surprised at the answer that you get. Even if we were only our bodies, which we are not only our bodies, but if that were true, wouldn't it make sense to make sure that it is running as smoothly as possible and giving it all that it requires to be at optimal performance? If receiving what you can to do that for your body happens, can you see that it goes a long way toward ease and happiness? Because frankly, our bodies, I think Gandhi said that, our good health is our good wealth. Our wealth is good health. How does he go with that? He says, the greatest wealth is health, right? And so a lot of people don't understand that this is the temple. This is the house. This is the thing you walk in. This is the grandest thing going. No man has made anything that matches this. The idea is to love it, cherish it, and give it the best that you can so that you can have it live and love you for as long as possible. Our communications with ourselves is beyond the physical. It is even beyond the molecular and the cellular. Thoughts come into our brains from the ether. Wouldn't it be a good idea to have those molecules and cells open and healthy and receptive to their highest possible state through the proper nutrition, exercise, hormonal balance, paying attention to what needs to be corrected? Because I submit to you that bent cells and bent molecules are not very receptive to the wonderful messages that you are trying to put across. And if you're walking around with some sort of issue with nutrition and exercise, you get to have complaints about, well, why aren't things going the way I want them to go? Bent cells can't receive the message the way a healthy open cell can. So you get to complain about, well, why isn't it going the way I want? Why do I have to keep repeating myself over and over and over again? Why can't I relax? Why are they acting so obtuse? Right? Well, consider it. So what if we decide that, well, all of this body stuff is nice, but it's too much trouble and, it's just another thing for me to do. Listen, you're already doing it. You're already doing something. All we're talking about now is shifting that something into something that's healthier for you and your family. I mean, just look around you. Most of the people on this planet live in pretty stinky situations. And if we're not paying attention to what we're doing for ourselves and our bodies, then we get to continue living in these stinky situations, having to deal with these stinky situations and the stress from dealing with unruly offspring and crazy world leaders. And, if we continue to ignore the call, then which is truly more trouble? Absorbing the responsibility and loving yourself in the meantime now? Or dealing with the aftermath, which we already are, ongoing, of all of the stinkiness in the world. The richness of love and all that that implies is lost by the inefficiencies in our body systems. If you do find you need help with this, do contact me at the link saveyourBreath101.com/parenting-assessment. Let's have a conversation. I thank you very much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time here on the Save Your Breath Show.